Alright, welcome one and all, whoever may be watching this, part 48, Tides of Numenéra. We are just going to jump into a Merecaster that got dropped in the last video, purely because it takes at least half an hour, if not longer, to get through these Merecasters, so let's just do it. Right, I got a bit confused. I guess technically this is the character screen. I also just want to check, apparently... I was reading, there's like a way to tell how pleased these guys are with you, and it's like not the easiest thing to spot. And I did read, oh, here it is. I think this is it. He reveres me, yay! Oh, she reveres me too. Everyone reveres me. That's exactly how it should be. Alright, let's do this whole Merecaster business. This Merecaster is hot to the touch. You feel the click and whirl of countless mechanisms moving beneath your hands. The urge to explore the mere within is as palpable as thirst. Well, let's do it. Hold on, let me inspect it first. The clicking of the mechanisms with the device is a rhythmic thing, like a drumbeat, like soldiers marching in perfect, helpless unison. Alright, let's do it. Oh, I should have rested or something. I've only got intellect. Oh, far out. As your consciousness coalesces, you find yourself in an underground bunker which is shaking from an attack far above. You stand mid-salute in front of a cast-off encased in an articulated metal carapace. He's so skeletal you doubt he could move without it. You remember his name is Levak, Paj Rekken's second in command in the endless battle. 3 advisors sit behind him. Levak shakes his synth-encased head and addresses you. Don't worry about the message, Barricale. It's been rendered moot. We're just lucky Commander Recken made it out of Mir Levest alive. She missed the destruction of the sanctuary by moments. A thunderous explosion rocks the bunker, sending everyone staggering. As you can see, we have troubles of our own, Levak says, getting back to his feet. The changing god's latest ploy has paralyzed the reconciler of truth. Of course, Heaven's rejoinder remains functioning, which means we cannot reverse their success while they can reverse ours. He leads you to a strategy table showing a 3-dimensional projection of a battlefield across parallel realities. He swipes through several images. All of them show your army on the verge of defeat. He shakes his head. We are in more danger now of losing this war than since the first died. I am afraid I must send you out again, Barricale. We must save the Reconciler. How did the massacre at Mir Levest massacre happen? How did the shields come down? I don't know. Maybe the sorrow finally grew strong enough to smash through. Maybe there was a traitor. I have heard nothing. What are the Reconciler of Truth and Heaven's rejoinder? Levak laughs. Again, eh? I suppose one of the hazards of dancing so often through realities and times is that it plays hell with memory. Not to worry, I'll explain it once more. Centuries ago, when the First still lived, she found the Reconciler, a machine of the ancients which allowed the user to look at multiple versions of a recent event and lock reality onto the one they liked best, making it the only reality. With it, she began choosing realities in which we had won more battles than we had lost, and quickly drove the changing god to the brink of defeat. Until, that is, he acquired his own machine, Heaven's Rejoinder, which can undo the Reconciler's realities and make its own. Since then, our war has become one of feint and counterfeint, of competing and collapsing realities, where no battle is ever entirely won or completely lost, and where both sides look always for a final advantage. He sighs and looks at the table, where one by one the multiple battlefields are beginning to wink out, narrowing down to one. And it seems as if the Chalcedon, the changing god's general, may have found his advantage at last. With the reconciler sabotaged and heaven's rejoinder well defended, we may never turn the tide. I wonder, because the Chalcedon was in Meal of Est, so I wonder if he had anything to do with the sorrow breaking in. I am ready to serve. With my 0 might, let's do this. Excellent, says Levok, and turns to his advisors. All cast-offs, you notice. Friends, what are your suggestions? How do we undo what has been done by the Reconciler without using the Reconciler? A scarred female cast-off in red armor speaks up. I recommend an all-out assault on the position of Heaven's Rejoinder. This will of course fail, and it will give cover for Barricale to slip through the paths of the White Nest and reach the Rejoinder from behind. There she can reset it, then destroy it. She pounds the table. Then we will be the only side who can change history. A male mutant, exquisitely beautiful, except for the second mouth on his throat, speaks in melodious harmony. I suggest Barricale use the reality storm that ravages no man's land to find the Reconciler's saboteur. If she can navigate the shifting shards, she can stop the saboteur before he reaches it. He shrugs. This will only return us to the status quo, of course, but it will be easier for Barricale to deal with one man than the deadly White Nest. Any other suggestions? Asks Levok. When there is no answer, he turns to you. I approve of either path. As it is you who will face these challenges, I leave it to you which you will choose. What do you say? Jeez, tell me more about the White Nest. The White Nest, says Levok, are the catacombs where the Chalcedon breeds his Stratharian war moths. A horrible place. I don't know what the tunnels were originally used for, but now they are a tangled mess of webs and larvae. It's filled with traps, since the enemy knows the tunnels are a vulnerable approach, but the real danger is the moth themselves. Horrible creatures whose phosphorescent glow withers the flesh and maddens the mind. He shivers. Once they sense your presence, they will not rest until you are dead. It won't be an easy approach by any means. Okay, tell me about the reality storm. Levok shakes his head. We and the changing God have used the Reconciler of Truth and Heaven's Rejoinder so often and at such cross purposes that there are places in the no man's land between our front lines where no single reality holds sway. Fractured ripples of possibility drift across the field like squalls of rain, changing all in their path and offering entry into other times and versions of the present. And of course, once one enters a different version of reality, then all the shards one encounters in that reality are different too. He pales. It's the less deadly route, but it's still possible to be lost forever in such a maze. Jeez, I feel like given my stats, finding the saboteur would be the easiest option. I'm assuming if we went through the White Nest, there would be something to do with speed and strength, and I got nothing. I will find the saboteur before he breaks the Reconciler, no matter what time or reality he does it in. Levok nods, then looks at the others. Any objection to Barricale's choice? I approve, says the cast-off with 2 mouths. It can be done quickly, and the risk is low. And if Barricale is lost, says the cast-off in red armor, we can try the assault I suggested with someone else running through the White Nest. Very well, says Levok, standing. Barricale, these are the gloves of the saboteur. You'll use these, their scent and their tides, to navigate the shards and find your man. Under heavy guard and with force shields and temporal randomizers in place, Levok escorts you to the edge of no man's land. It is scarred with trenches and thick with roiling smoke, but more unnerving are the drifting shards of time and reality that crosses it like summer storms. In one great army's move, In another, towering constructs with glowing eyes burn the homes of fleeing villagers, and on and on. Levok points ahead. There, somewhere, is your path. Use your instincts to hunt this villain down, but take care. Too many jumps and you will enter realities where the storm is fading, the shards closing. You could be trapped in a distant reality with no way back. You thank Levok, then walk towards the storm of shards, holding the saboteur's gloves in one hand. Strange as it seems, the scheme seems to be working. Some of the shards do not have the right smell at it, and you are able to discount them entirely. Some are harder to decide upon, but eventually you are able to narrow it down to 3. A moonlit lake, a canyon full of glancing sun and flishing shapes, and a storm of swirling chaos. I don't know, let's go with the moonlit lake. It sounds like the best. You are floating in a dark lake next to a large square raft. On it, kneeling in perfect rows, are 100 women, all bald, all with strange brass devices on their backs, and all praying. In unison they press their foreheads to the planks and their devices open. A vapor rises from them, then combined into a twisting white column which snakes towards the far side of the lake. Looking in that direction, you see another raft crowded with praying monks, also emitting a snaking vapor. In the middle of this strange conflict, the reality storm stirs the waters. You swim for it, but only the shard you left matches the scent of the gloves. You step back into the reality you know and face your choices again. Alright, fine. Sunny Canyon. You stand at the edge of a sunlit canyon watching an aerial battle between naked men and women strapped into wood and cloth glide wings. Half of the wings bear the colors of the changing god and the other half bear the first. The flyers slash at each other with long razored poles, trying to tear fabric and flesh, and every now and then a wing goes spiraling down into the canyon. You see the shard storm swirling on a mesa in the middle of the canyon and race for the bridge that leads to it. 3 shards feel promising, a dense forest at night, rolling farmland in the setting sun, and a muddy battlefield in the rain. I mean, do we just follow the sun? Go to the farmland? No, okay, that was the wrong one. You step into the landscape of peaceful rolling hills dotted with sleepy farms and pastures. Farmers till the soil around looming red outcroppings that you at first take to be boulders, but then see are rusting remains of towering constructs, now overgrown with saplings, shrubs, and flowers. Children play on them, fighting with sticks and calling each other Chalcedon and Reckon. On a hillside, walled off and untilled, the shards of the reality storm still twist and mingle. You make your way to them by hedgerow lanes, but only one matches the scent of the gloves, the one you came from. Okay, I guess the muddy battlefield? Nice. On a muddy battlefield, battered with rain and littered with bodies and broken mantis war constructs, the Chalcedon stands with the rest of his command as Page Reckon and her generals kneels before him and she offers him her sword. All around this scene, the Chalcedon soldiers are leading away Page's surviving troops, both cast off and human. There aren't many left. Most are dead on the field and being picked over by murdered corpse thieves. Beyond them you can just see the reality storm's shifting ripples. You hurry through the rain towards them, and as you get close, 3 of them seem better than the others. A glimmering swamp, a plain of giant bonfires, and a frantic battle. Let's go with the frantic battle. A chaotic battle churns around you. Soldiers in the colors of the changing god fight soldiers in the colors of the first, with sword, sonic lance, and slug spitter. A lancer falls dead before you, shot through the heart, and you stare as you see that she has your face. You look up to see who killed her and discover that her murderer also has your face, and she isn't the only one. Every single soldier on both sides of the battle looks exactly like you. Well, that's a moment. You race towards the reality storm, fighting barricels from both sides as they try to kill you. Finally, you reach it, but only the shard you left matches the scent. Okay. Giant bonfires. I don't think I'm doing very well here. Yeah, okay. Glimmering swamp. Well, this doesn't look promising either. It is night. You are hip deep in a stinking swamp, watching hideously mutated primitives flee through a maze of reeds and drooping trees as soldiers in the colors of the first stalk them, firing beam weapons. You back into the shadows as two soldiers pass your position, and you see that they are not human. Though they walk upright on their hind legs, they have paws with opposable thumbs. They are Sesky hounds, somehow evolved into humanoid shape. As the hunt vanishes again into the night, you see the shimmer of reality storm through the trees, but approaching it you find there are far fewer shards in the earlier realities, and Levok's warning comes back to you. You are making too many jumps. Oh, okay. If you take too many more, you could wind up trapped in a distant reality. Still, you find 3 of the shards that seem more likely than the rest. A gloomy battlefield, an arena full of roaring crowds, and a maze of grimy grey streets. If I take a look at where I am, will that... yeah, okay, that doesn't help me, does it? Let's just go the gloomy battlefield. A train of transport sleds glides to a stop on a desolate battlefield, and Paj Reckon steps out with her command and looks around. For as far as the eye can see, the field is covered in corpses, both outcast and human, burnt to sticks inside their uniforms. There are no living troops at all. The only movement is the roiling smoke that rises from the broken hulks of shattered war machines. Paj chokes to see it all. Is this what victory looks like? She asks, then hangs her head. What have we done? What have we done? Off to the west, half hidden in a grey haze, the reality storm churns. You edge from view and scurry towards it. As you near it, you see, looming with a shard, the massive form of the Reconciler of Truth. Without hesitation, you leap through. Landing near the Reconciler, you see none of the guards who usually protect it, nor the walls or doors that shield it. In fact, it isn't in the chamber at all. Instead, it seems to be in some sort of bubble outside time and space. You circle it and find, crouching by the far side of it, a wiry man in dark armor, focusing on cutting through its metal skin. You recognize him as Zeroth, one of the Chalcedon's wiliest operatives, whom Barricale has tangled with more than once. As you creep upon him, he whips around, alarmed. He throws his hands in front of him, pleading. "Bruna!" he gasps. "Wait, hear me out. I have information you need to know." "Tell me?" "You know that the sorrow has destroyed Mirlavest, yes? Well, know that it was your commander, Paj Reckon, who dropped the compound's shield and allowed it to enter. That is why she was there and how she escaped in time." His snarls overcome. "Mirlavest has always been a place of peace. Paj broke that truth. So many of our brothers and sisters dead, more than ever died in this foolish war." He looks you in the eye. "I know you to be an honorable opponent, Bruna, but your leader is savage and insane. If you care for the future of the cast-offs, go back to her and confront her. Stop her from killing any more of us." "Go, I will consider it, otherwise..." "You think I'm gonna fight, Barricale, the living blade? I am no fool." He bows and steps away from the Reconciler, then turns and drives through a reality shard and is gone. And he leaves. The bubble around the machine fades, and it returns to its proper place and time. You turn to the shards to do the same. You retrace your steps through the reality storm and return to Levok's bunker. He greets you with open arms and a smile. "Success, my friend. Whatever you did, the Reconciler is operational once again, and we have recovered our recent losses. I have told Paj Reckon of your heroism, and she wants to thank you personally. Go to her now. She is in the Bloom, meeting with the Memavira. I believe she has more work for you there." Zeronoth told me Commander Reckon was the one who turned off Mialavest's shields, allowing the sorrow to kill our siblings. Levok scowls. Lies, most likely, meant to turn you against our commander. I would not speak this foolishness to her when you see her. It will lower her opinion of you. Now go. Thank you, sir. I will head to the Bloom now. Thank you, says Lavok. My regards to the commander. With a bow, you leave the bunker and make your way to the Zedrak Roost. There you mount the drake the grooms have saddled for you and fly towards Sagas Cliffs. When you reach it, you bank down into its shadows and land near the living, glistening mouth of the flesh that is the Bloom. The guards at the nearest orifice tell you the way to the Memavera's fortress, and after entering and travelling through the Bloom's viscera and ventricles, you reach her gates. Her guards admit you without a word, and you are ushered into an antechamber and told to wait. From behind a door you hear the voice of Page Reckon, raised in frustration. If the sorrow is strong enough to enter Mialavest, Page is saying, then it's our primary enemy. We must either finish the changing god quickly or unite with him to destroy it. A voice you recognize as the Memavera's answers. You have reversed it, sister. We will use the sorrow to destroy the changing god. All we must do is turn it his way. Page groans. And am I to take this message to the survivors? That they should let the monster which killed us walk free, hoping it might strike our enemy first? Why don't you tell them, sister? Why don't you reveal yourself at last? The door slides open and the Memavera enters. It isn't time. She cuts off as she sees you. Who is this? Page enters the room behind her, then nods. Ah, Barricale, the loyal blade you asked me to send for, and it seems she has already learned your secret. The Memavera gives you a hard look. Then she had better be loyal indeed. Introduce us. Barricale, says Page, may I present the first, our bravest leader. So brave she's hidden behind my skirts for over 100 years. Enough, Page, snaps the first, then looks you over. I asked Commander Reckon to bring me her best, for in the coming days I will have need of an agent who will act without flinching, no matter what order. Is that you, Barricale Bruna? Are you ready to do anything to stop the changing god? I mean, really, what do I have to lose by accusing her? I mean, I guess I could change the outcome for whoever's body I'm in. I am honored to be chosen, but my loyalty is to the commander I have known all these years. I will do as Page orders. The first looks from you to Page and back, thinking, then I shall have to trust that Page remains loyal to me, won't I? She turns to Page. General, what are your orders for your blade? Page faces you, squaring her shoulders. Barricale, protect the first and follow her orders in all things. As of now, she is your commander, not I. As the first welcomes you, a force like a fist starts to wrench you back to your own body. The last thing you hear is your new commander saying, the last child is coming, Barricale. We must be prepared.
I'm ready to learn something new.
There's something about you, Eratus.
My skill? My bravery? Oh, is it my smile?
No, it's the enthusiasm. Turn it down.